KMSU.
Hey, Dustin?
Yes.
It's Jeff.
Jeff, how are you doing?
I'm good. How's our sound here? We doing okay?
You sound a little distant, actually.
Is that better?
That's a lot better, yeah.
Okay. I won't use the speakerphone then.
Okay, well, I'm here with my co-host, Ton.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm pretty good, thanks.
So I'm going to be sandwiched with barrage of questions from folks.
Yep.
Like a big mushy Oreo. It's going to be great.
I'll just be attacked from both sides. It's okay.
All right, well, we will get things underway. We'll give you the boring standard opener question and ask you how you got started in acting.
Oh, my God. Let me creep back into the cobwebbed recesses of my mind here. You know, I was just a regular lower middle class kid growing up in a small town in California, and I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say where nurture and nature comes into play on this sort of stuff. You know, are you born to do something, or is the table sort of set for you a little bit? I tend to think it's kind of both. You know, I had two older brothers that were really outgoing and social and all of that, and I was kind of like the nerdy younger brother who had to wear glasses, kind of awkward, didn't really feel like I could kind of keep up with him. And whether even before I knew it, I was very much drawn to everything that was going on, either at the movie theater or in that box in the corner that I would sit and watch, be fascinated with this world, and, you know, wanted to be a part of that some way or other. I didn't really know how to go about it. You know, you do a couple plays in school, and it seems a little, kind of revs your engine a little bit. And I remember in high school, I took a drama class for an easy A. That's all I wanted, and girls. There were girls there. And and they set up auditions for the first play of the year, and I didn't even audition. It was like, that's not why I am doing this. And so why would I go extracurricular with it? And then the drama teacher came to me a couple of days later, and he said, well, we cast the show, but somebody bowed out, and I want you to play the role. And it was like, no. And how about no? And that went on for a while. I kind of like you guys, right now, I was in a pincer move with my drama coach on one side and a good friend of mine who was playing the lead on the other, trying to convince me. And they wore me down, and I just finally went, okay, fine. God. I didn't really want to do it, but I do remember the top of my head exploding on opening night when I got my first laugh. And it was like a guitar input plug going into the slot, and everything was amplified from then on. And I realized, hey, this is kind of what I want to do. Long answer, but that was the germ. And then I, you know, did plays in high school, and then I was lucky to go to a small little 2 years college with a phenomenal theater program, which really laid the foundation for my career, frankly, because the work ethic, the variety of plays that were done, the quality of the productions, it was like a mecca in the summertime. People all over the West and America would come there to perform for the summer, and not only on stage, but design-wise, the designers. It was just such a high quality that it really did hook me in, and I realized this is what I want to make of my life. And then horror found me.
Yeah, how did you wind up being in the Re-Animator films as Herbert West?
I was doing a play in L.A., you know, a nice little serious play, and a casting director came and saw it, and he said, you know, you might be right for this role. Would you like to come in on it? And it was kind of like, yeah, sure, of course. It's a movie, you know. And then I read the script, and it was so bloody, and I went, oh, man, okay, well, I'll go in anyway, and because the character was good, obviously, and got the part, and now what do I do? But I figured no one would ever see the movie, and that was ReAnimator. So kind of shows you why I will never be the head of a studio. picking projects because it was just, I thought it was just so bloody. But at the same time, there was an incredible team working on that, and we got the balance right, I think, between gore and the humor that it takes to release the ickiness of the gore, so that it really hit a nice tone. Well written, well acted. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the whole cast. It was just really, everybody was so spot on in that show. And well directed, well shot. A lot of happy accidents to make that thing come together.
Wow. And then you appeared in all three of them. Do you think there's going to be a fourth one
I
in the
doubt
works?
that. It's the most asked question I get. Wherever I go, doesn't matter where I'm at, someone goes, what about House of ReAnimator? It's the most asked about movie that has never been made. It won't be made simply because the idea was very topical, and frankly, between me and you, I wasn't real keen on it, but it was Stewart's take. He really wanted to take it to the Bush administration, so the House was the White House, and the vice president who really ran the country had a heart attack, and so they bring Herbert in to bring him back to life, and chaos ensues in the West Wing. It's kind of clever, but my argument was always, why do we have to have it be Bush and Cheney? Why can't we just talk about power as opposed to being so completely, completely on the nose about it? Because then its shelf life won't really be.
Yeah.
ReAnimator's never been a political tool, and I just didn't feel like that we should, turn into Michael Moore here.
You've done mostly horror films. What makes you lean towards that type of a role?
Honestly, I don't lean towards that kind of a role. I just don't. It is the nature of the beast that once you have gotten some success in a given genre, well, then guess what? That's sort of like what you're known for. It has its blessing in that you keep working, and it has its curse because you don't get the variety that you crave. So that I have nothing against horror. I think when it's done well, it's as viable as any other genre, truly. But just like any other genre, when it's done bad, well, it stinks to high heaven, and that's how it is. That's how it is in Hollywood. It sort of perpetuates itself that way. And so, yeah, I try to ride the wave of what I'm known for, but at the same time, I try to be as different as I possibly can, given the parameters that I'm kind of stuck with.
You've shown up in a lot of Star Trek shows and stuff. Do you think more people will recognize you from the ReAnimator films or from the Star Trek stuff?
Dude, I say to people, I really do have, my career is really a foot in two worlds here, because I can literally go to a Star Trek convention and most of them have no idea that I have done horror movies, and vice versa. Or either they know, or they don't care, or they know and it really doesn't mean anything. Rare is the person who collects coins and stamps. Okay, and that's sort of what those two worlds are. They rarely do they collide, but certainly I've seen it. I mean, the person who comes up to me with a Wayoon picture rarely also lays down a ReAnimator DVD for me to give him an autograph. You know what I mean? So I'm actually very lucky to be known in two worlds like that.
Yeah, I can't really even think of anybody else that's gotten both the horror and the sci-fi worlds wrapped up like that.
And yet I would say, I don't know, well, wrapped up, I don't know about that. I would just say, though, that I wouldn't be in the Star Trek world to a good degree if it weren't for ReAnimator, because when I started doing the Deep Space Nine, the reason why I even got in that door was because the head writer, a guy named Ira Stephen Bear, knew my work from ReAnimator and all that other stuff. So he's the one who really opened the door wide and said, come play with us. So, one does nurture the other. And I just did a movie, or I should say I just did a voiceover for a movie that's being shot as we speak in Chicago, a little independent company there, movie called Motivational Growth. And I got that part. It's a great role. How do I explain this movie? Got a loser guy, young man, hasn't left his apartment in over a year. It's filthy, filthy, filthy. His only companion is an old TV, which one day dies. So what's to live for? So he decides he's going to kill himself. So he locks himself in his own bathroom and fills the tub with noxious chemicals, and then realizes that there's a vent. So he tries to plug the vent with a towel, falls, cracks his head, and when he wakes up, the pile of mold in the corner starts talking to him. And it's a new highlight in my career. I am the mold. So
The voice of the mold, huh?
voice of the mold, buddy. What are you doing? Get up off the floor. So, and I got that role because the director was saying I needed to find somebody who straddles that world between sci-fi and horror, and who else but you? So I thought that was quite sweet.
So is this like a buddy picture with the guy in the mold?
No, I would say more it's like Adam and the snake.
Oh, okay.
The mold is a bit of a metaphor for temptation and staying where you are and not going to the next place and being talked out of your best impulse. So
Sounds amazing.
yeah, I think that it should be really, really very, very, very clever. I've never read anything like it, so I'm real excited to see how the end product is. A really, really swift script, really clever, and so I hope it. Movies are very difficult to make.
Yeah.
I've learned that. You can start out one play. It's like building a flying machine. This will work, and then it's like, okay, now will it get off the ground? Here's hoping.